Good morning. My name is Greg Davis and I'm with CBS ArcSafe. We're here in our Denton workshop here to demonstrate two different remote switch actuators for bolted pressure switches. First for the Pringle switch and then for a Boltswitch over here. Now, just to give you a little bit of history and things that we've seen, and I have to apologize for some background noise. There's 4 giant logistics warehouses that are being built next to our property here, so if you hear some banging, that's somebody that is driving pilings, and we do apologize for the extra noise on today's video. So, manufacturers of these things, from what we have seen, are Barkaloo, which became Square D Bolt Lock. You've got Boltswitch. You've got GE, which had Pringle switches for a while with the old black handles with the red push button on the end. Then you've got the Kellec Camlock, which is an oddball in there. You've got ITE, which made a bolted pressure switch, which we've seen in a couple of locations. And then basically the Pringle switch. So some of the things to understand is this. When you look at Pringle switches, some switch handles are going to travel 90 degrees only. Some are going to travel 115 degrees. So when you contact us about these various switches, we need to know the switch make and model number, and we'd like to get some pictures of the switch gear that it's installed in also. Eaton bought up Pringle switch, I don't know about what year, but they did that. So if you see newer Pringle switches, they're going to be in Eaton Cutler Hammer panel boards. And just to explain, when you deal with the Pringle, the old ones are the black handle with the red push button, and those come in a couple different sizes we've seen. Then you have the newer models, and one of the things to discuss about that is you can see handle changes in terms of one's sort of got an arrow point on the end. Then you may have some others that have like a 90-degree handle angle with a bent odd shape or something. We're used to dealing with all of these handles. So we're going to show you today, I think it's the ArcSafe 135A is our first one. We've got it mounted on our Pringle switch here to start with. And this is one with a shunt trip. So we're going to go through the closing operation of going up and coming back down, and then we're going to go through the tripping operation, and then we'll take it off and show you how this mounts and locates on the switchgear after that. So we use the RSO 3D for this operation. We've got it set up already. So we're going to go charge close on this one. And just the pulsing and timing up there, one of the things you have to understand with this is it has to go fast enough through the operation for the switch to be able to throw. If you try and go slower than this and do something else with it, the switch won't be able to close properly and do what it's supposed to do. Now we'll trip it. And that is the operation of the 135A. I'll go ahead and take it off of the switchgear now. First, I'll work to turn off the RSO 3, disconnect our 2 connections right here. And if you have questions as we go through this, or you've got things for us to answer, you can either send us email at info@cbsarcsafe.com, or you can call us at 1-877-472-3389. Yep. Okay, now a couple of things to understand with this. Okay, let me just take and turn this around so everybody can see this side of the RSA now. So Now, things to understand is that different Pringle switches come in different widths based on amp frame sizes. So we need to know the amp frame size that we're dealing with, and you'll see that here on the label. And so we're going to like to get pictures with dimensions to make sure that our design, if we have to adjust it all based on the fact that somebody put it in the XYZ Smuffy switchgear setup instead of a straight Eaton line, and we have to make accommodations for that, we can do that and adjust the lateral dimensions of the RSA to accommodate that need. So you can see that this is how it's going to engage on the handle right there, and this is where our push button is going to be for doing the solenoid trip. These two guides over here go into the space on the lateral side of the vertical side of the switchgear and help us to be able to resist the torsional loads as we work to charge and close this switch. So that's why us getting your pictures with your dimensions is important on this type of switch right here. Next, we're going to go look at the RSA 152C. Now this is for the bolt switch over here, also with a trip on it. And some of the things to note are when we're dealing with any of these, you see us use magnets on all of these. And on this one, we have two locators down here on the face of the switchgear to help us, again, resist the torsion as we go to bring that arm up and close this, okay? Because the magnet wouldn't be able to fully do that by itself because they use a thinner plate and we're having to generate a lot of torque. So that's about the only modification you're going to have to make to your switchgear to be able to use the RSA 152C. Some of the other things to mention are this. If you've got aluminum enclosures, which we have seen for places, we need to know that, or you may have stainless steel. So we know there's variations on this. Please send us your pictures to info@cbsarcsafe.com or call us at 1-877-472-3389. So this apparatus comes with two parts. The first is the main actuator for performing the closing function, and then the smaller actuator over here for performing the trip function, okay? So we're going to take this one first. How close am I right there? Those two are there. And just because of the condition of our switchgear, I'm going to put an additional magnet on here to hold everything in place just because of the torque requirements. There we go. So that's all mounted properly. Again, we're going to use an RSO 3D for this device. We've got our T1 and T2 settings of 2.0 and 2.5. Strokes are 6 and 1 or 0 right here. So
yeah, for closing, there's one stroke. It's T1 is 6.0, T2 is 0.0 for the closing action.
okay. So on this one, I just push close trip again.
Correct, and that'll close the.
All right. So here we go. And it's just, you see it pulse just a little bit there at the end. Again, it has to go fast enough for the knife blade to be able to throw. Now, what's going to happen is if I trip this now, you're going to watch the handle slowly release and go back down to the bottom position.
If the RSA wasn't there, yes.
If the, okay, if the RSA.
I would take the main device off.
Okay.
Show the operation.
We'll do that real quick then. Okay, so this is our little trip unit. This is going to locate around the side right here underneath the actual trip. And it goes on the face just like that. So now we just hold the trip button down until it trips. And that's the operation of the two parts of the ArcSafe 152C. We'd like to go ahead and open it up for questions now, if anybody's got any. You're going to find these in some chemical processing plants. You'll find them in downtown type facilities where you're working down at switchgear vaults. Sometimes in data centers they'll use these. So there's a wide range of places that I've seen Pringle switches and bolt switches, whether they're in aluminum processing facilities or other stuff. And so we understand they all come in a lot of different amp frame sizes. We've worked to make things for many of those already, but you've got to be able to send us your information and request a visit and get us the pictures so we can determine what is the appropriate solution to meet your needs.
Open it up for questions.
And if you got questions, we'll wait a couple minutes now. Please go ahead and we'll watch the webinar here to see what you guys have. Again, if you have questions, it's 1-877-472-3389 or info@cbsarcsafe.com.